Good morning. This is R.N. Bhaskar from BKBB, which is an acronym for Bhaskar Ki Business Baatein. It's a channel that brings you policy analysis, stories, and conversations. But at this time, at 8:15 in the morning, we bring you news behind the news. We look at some headlines that we think are important and analyze them. My co-anchor today is Anurag. Welcome, Anurag. It's good to have you here. And the three titles that we shall discuss today are the first one is the government's plans to expedite rare earth mining. Will it work? The second is the government's plan to introduce virtual energy to facilitate solar energy trading. And the third is why marine insurance rates have climbed dramatically. Okay, let's begin with the first story. The first story talks about the government creating a new mission for mining rare earths. Yes, rare earths is a problem. EVs can't be made, defense equipment can't be made without rare earth metals. America is also caught in the same trap. India says we have 20% of the world's reserves. But the trouble is, even if the government succeeds in setting up this mission, extracting those reserves from the ground will be difficult for two reasons. First, many of the minerals are under forest cover. That will be a big problem. Second, even if you mine the minerals can't be used unless you process them. And the only country that has mastered the art of processing is China. It's a very complicated, technologically challenging process. And India wants to do it. Well, if the plans don't go well, it'll be more good money after bad. There's a third reason why. The government's mining policy is flawed. Let me explain why. And the example is that of gold. Geologists have estimated India's gold mining capacity each year could be as much as 200 tons. We mine 22 tons every year. Why? Because both the mines belong to the government. One has closed down, the second has meager production. The government wants to allow privatization of gold mining. That means large scale churning up of the earth, scarring the earth. When geologists have told the government that most of the gold that is there underground is dispersed, allow individual small gold mines to come up. Small mines which can produce half a ton, 1 ton, and spread it out so that the earth is not unnecessarily scarred. Don't make it a monopoly. But the government doesn't listen. Instead, the government has set up another government-owned gold mining project in Australia. The government's mining policy is bad. And one reason why it's bad is because world over, the best mining has taken place when individuals benefit. Remember the gold rush of America? Individuals went panning for gold. Here, the second I find gold on my land, the government takes the land away. So why should I tell anyone that I found gold? If I find oil, the government takes over the land. Allow the private individual to benefit. But the government wants to own everything. And that is disastrous. That is why I'm not very sure whether this mining policy will succeed. Anyway, let's go to the second story, which is equally challenging, and that is Anurag's story. Anurag, could we have you?
Good morning. India's electricity regulator has released a draft proposal to introduce virtual power purchase agreements or VPPAs as a financial instrument for power trading. The Central Electricity Regulatory Commission's ambitious draft aims to help large industrial consumers meet renewable energy obligations without physically taking delivery of electricity. Now, how does that work and what does this mean for the consumers? So, under this proposal, the consumers pays a pre-agreed price for renewable electricity, but does not receive the electricity directly. Instead, the renewable energy generator sells the power on exchanges, and renewable energy certificates are then transferred to the consumers, who settles the price difference. Here, the financial settlements are made based on the difference between the VPPA price and the market price. The new proposed framework could give commercial and industrial consumers a fourth route to procure renewable energy beyond on site generation, open access, and REC purchases. The government has made renewable consumption obligations mandatory for certain categories, and the VPPAs could offer a new tool to meet those requirements. Globally, countries such as the US, UK, Germany, and Australia have already adopted VPPAs to ease renewable energy procurement by corporates and helping companies achieve sustainability targets and providing financial certainty. The Regulatory Commission is open for public feedback on the proposal till July 14th, but the question remains, will this financial innovation boost the country's transition to clean energy, or will it simply become another compliance mechanism for large power consumers? What's your take on this, sir?
Works. Remember the REC certificate, the what do you call it, energy replenishment certificate was often uh, accused of promoting scandals. Fictitious accounts are created, bogus certificates are created. How will this work? Remains to be seen. The plans are good, but implementation is the key. And till the government manages to create a system that does not allow for leakages, the system is going to lead to more problems. But thank you. It's a good story, and I like it. There's a third story that we want to talk about, and that is how marine insurance premiums have skyrocketed 30%. Why? Look at the picture. This is a picture of tankers being loaded with LNG from Qatar through pipelines into the Hormuz Strait. The Hormuz Strait accounts for 20% of oil and much more of gas. India, for example, 80% of its LNG is imported, and 80% of the imported LNG comes from one country called Qatar, and that means the Hormuz Strait. Qatar has issued two warnings, one a month ago and one just now, telling shippers to be very careful when entering the Hormuz Strait, because this war between Israel and Iran could result in the Hormuz Strait coming under attack. It's a war that should not have started. Unfortunately, Israel started it, and America has abetted it. And the whole world pays a price. It's unfortunate. It should not happen. But now, everyone, all marine cargo, will see an escalation in costs. That will result in global inflation as well. That finishes my three stories. Thank you very much for watching. And just a reminder, please click the subscribe button, click the like button, and most importantly, tell all your friends about it, because we want people to watch this program and enlarge our audience. And yes, now let me handle the questions that are coming in. The first question is there any way for marine insurance costs to be controlled? How? Marine insurance, any insurance cost goes up as risks go up. They can be controlled. If America, which has enormous leverage over Israel, can bring a stop to this war. But no, America is sending a carrier there. America is also sending a whole fleet of aerial, refueling systems over there. Effectively, America is stoking the fire. Insurance premiums will go up. not just for India, but for the entire world. And there is a third question also that comes up. And the third question is about Anurag's story. Anurag's story is about solar power, but why can't solar power trading uh, become more effective? You see, solar power becomes effective when you have players coming in and sell power according to a PPA, which is already exists. The trouble is when the government creates PPAs which cannot be handled by anyone, you have a peculiar situation where where companies produce more solar power than the market requires. That solar power does not get sold. And if the solar power does not get sold, the solar producers get upset. Now, the trouble is, all the solar producers are very well connected politically. The government needs to find a solution. So, they brought in virtual power, a virtual PPA, in addition to the existing PPA, which means there could be a lot of leakages taking place in terms of compliance. And that brings me to the third question, which is a rare earth mining policy created towards backdoor handling over forest land to others? Well, I don't know. Firstly, you can't handle a forest land very easily. There are regulations to go through, and no matter how much the emergency, you can't take a forest land just like that. There's also the SDG, which also mandates that forest cover should be maintained. My bigger problem is even if mining takes place, how will you process it? Processing the mined mineral requires skill, requires a totally different kind of an infrastructure. Can India do it? You are doing a wonderful thing by creating a policy, but just see if the policy is practical. And unless the mining policies change, unless you bring in the refining and processing the part of the business first, don't jump into just guarding the earth. That's dangerous. And that brings me to the end of today's session. And thank you very much for watching this program. It's good to have you here today. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. But be sure that you're here tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you once again. Good luck.